Hello. Hi. My name is Manoj, and I just graduated a month ago. And 2 years ago, I started a Python community when I was an undergrad. It's a community focused on data science called PyData Delhi with 3 of my friends. So the journey started out in 2016 when I was at PyCon UK speaking at this conference. And there was a developer sprint, just like at PyCon Korea. And I got to discuss about communities. I got to know about NumFocus, the PyData. So if you don't know about what NumFocus is basically an organization in the US which supports all the open data tools. It also provides fiscal sponsorship to those developers who work on those projects. And also, they have a conference event which is called PyData, and it is global. So there are more than 85,000 people and more than 100 event groups. And it's in multiple countries, more than 40 countries right now. So I got to know about PyData. I talked to a lot of people. So I decided, hey, let's start a PyData Delhi in my city. It happened, and it turns out that it's been around 2 years, 22 months, and we got 25 meetups, and we just finished one of our conference last week. So I want to talk about a little bit of timeline, and then I can just go on to talk more about communities. I and my friends were a part of a local Python group, and we had interacted with other communities. I also spoke, and my friends also spoke at a few Python conferences before. They were just like local conferences. But there was an urge amongst us. We wanted to learn data science, and there was no community around that. There were small groups, small informal groups, but they were really hard to get by because they were not functional enough, or people just bailed out after 2 meetups or something. So we wanted to have something really concrete, and PyData seemed to be a really nice opportunity for us. So we wanted to do it, and we had no idea how to organize big events or meetups and do it again and again. But still, we went forward. In October 2016, I had my first meetup, and there were just 3 people at the conference, the organizers, and there were approximately maybe 15 people. In the beginning, it was really a student-focused community. There was no working professionals. So mostly, all the attendees used to be some of the students from my university or my friend's university. And we used to just have 10 or 20 people every single meetup. It kept going on. This is one of our initial meetups. And we started to get more traction. We started to get more people, and we got in touch with more people from the industry. So the ratio of students to professionals, it got better. We kept on iterating that again and again. And after those iterations, we had more meetups every single month. Actually, we tried to have at least 2 meetups a month, but that was getting really hard because having 2 meetups a month means you have to be committed every 2 weeks, at least 2 or 3 days a week. So it was getting really hard, but we were still trying to manage this whole thing. And there were just 4 or 5 core leaders, including me. And sometimes if one of them just bails out, everyone would be like, oh, what should we do now? But after a few months, we kept on going on, and we got more people from the industry. And we got a good momentum. The only thing that we had kept in mind was not to lose that momentum. We just had to go on, and we decided to have at least 1 meetup in case we are not able to get those 2 meetups a month. So we did that, and after a few months, we decided that the group was big enough. Approximately 2,000 people are there, and we decided to have our first conference. So last year, approximately after a year of starting PyData Delhi, we had the first conference, and we got 200 people. Approximately 29 cities. The people came from 29 cities, and there were 4 countries. It was really good, and it also encouraged us to do better. So we went on for 1 more year, and just last week we finished the next PyData event, the second PyData event in India. So in about 2 years, the numbers looks like this. And going by the journey, it looks that this might be really easy, ain't it? But no, sometimes it's not easy. It turns out that starting a community is hard. But the problem is building the community is even harder. But if you have enough planning, it's going to be really smooth. So there are going to be like difficulties, but if you plan it well, things work out pretty smooth for you. I went on to TOB last week, and I figured out that the Python community at this moment is more than 3 million people. It's really huge. And we are kind of like getting on to rank 3 on the TOB's index, which is pretty cool. And this is all happening because of the really great community we have. And apparently, Python community is one of the most welcoming communities I've ever seen, and it actually is. The people in the Python community are the most generous people, and they create a sense of belongingness wherever you go. So you can go to like conferences, meetups, informal hangout sessions. It's always going to be really good for you. So let me just take a minute to talk about why our community is important. They have a lot of things. I want to talk about one is diversity, which basically translates to the strength. So over time, even in our meetups, we actually found that the number of people or the amount of people who participated in the meetups, they used to be really diverse. There used to be like scientists or like PhD scholars or people having background in accounts, finance. They wanted to move to data science or learn some data analytics. And that seems to be really cool for us because we want to have that diverse set of people so that everyone can understand and learn more things. A community is a group. It can be a group of 10 people, 20 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people. And it turns out that groups perform better than individuals. You can do more things together. So one of the things that people used to like get out from our meetups were they were mostly students, so they were looking out for like project partners or internships or jobs. So they did it pretty well. They got like some internships, they got some jobs, and it seems that that was one of our success metrics as well. Because we live in a city, so New Delhi is a city which is really focused on students, and we know that in every single meetup, the amount of students are going to be really high. So one of our success metric was, hey, can we get like these people like some sort of like projects done or like some sort of contracts or like remote like freelance jobs or internships? And it turns out that the places where we used to host meetups, they were looking for those students, and it was a win-win for both the people. The third thing is the communities provide really free and open discussions. So you can talk about anything in an open manner. For example, you never know about the best practices unless you try them again and again on your own, or you can just meet a group and just have an informal discussion about it, and you'll learn a lot of things at the same time. One of the co-developers of Python, Brett Cannon, said in one of his PyCon speech that I came for the language, but I stayed for the community. And it's really important. Because when people think that they might be involved in a programming language group, let's say any XYZ language, and if the community is not that great, they're not going to be there for a long time. But Python is a really great language, and the community and the people who fosters this community takes the time to maintain it well. Let's take a little moment on DIY on building your own community. But it's also like, how can you start your own community? Because building actually starts from the basics. So the first thing is, it has to start with a purpose. So you have to find a purpose for a group. It can be anything. For example, for us, it was having a group where we could learn more data science or like share our thoughts about data science. So what ideas do you want to discuss? What are the goals? What do you plan to offer to the audience? And what do you want to get back? For example, the ideas we want to discuss was a group for data science enthusiasts. The goal was to like learn and share similar things. And in the initial stage, we didn't have anything to offer to the audience except that we could have just discussions. But turns out later on, we found people who were looking for people working in the data science domain, and thus they found those students and they offered them internships and jobs, which worked out pretty good. The second thing is you have to understand the nature of your group and the region. So for example, my city is New Delhi. I can't just think that if I have a meetup, everyone is going to come to the meetup, or all the working professionals are going to come to the meetup. It's a heavily student-focused city. So it's really hard to like find the working professionals. And whenever you try to do an event, you can't just assume things that, okay, let's have a meetup for JavaScript developers and we assume to get like 30 developers and they will just come by. It's not going to happen. So you have to research a little bit. So think about what type of people you want to get and how would you get those diverse people. Also, can you have relevant discussions, maybe talks or workshops or something like that? Can you design an event to attract those audience? If so, let's move ahead. Always try to make it planned. Don't like haste into having any sort of event. So put a plan in place, have some alignment on goals, audience, what kind of structure you want for the event. What kind of leaders do you have for the event? Do you have sufficient volunteers? Is the event going to be really big, so you need like more volunteers, or is the event going to be small that even just like 2 people can handle it? Also backups, because Murphy is our friend, and anything that might go wrong will go wrong at the most unanticipated time. In the beginning, when you start with these sort of challenges, people find it really hard to like find a venue or thinking, how will you find people? But it seems like when you actually start something like this, finding a venue is not really hard. If your group is like really small, you can just like sit in a cafeteria or maybe a school classroom and have your meetup. And slowly, you can find more individuals to help you out. And as the meetup grows, you can find better spaces. So it's not just that if it's your first meetup, you have to have like a really good space with like really good food and something like that. So it never has to be like that way. Also, if you want to like find the attendees, you can just like get in touch with your colleagues so that they can help you on their behalf, so that they can find more people to attract to the event. The 4th thing is you have to decide where your event or your community lives. Is it just a community on a messaging app? Maybe it can be a Slack community. It can be a community on Telegram or any other messaging app. It can be a Kakao community, something like that. Or you can have it on voice or video. And you can have it in person, just the meetups. But it doesn't have to be just one. You can have like a combination of these. For example, if you have a meetup in person, also you can have a text community for people to discuss and ask questions. This is really important when you design your community and you have to like find more people. You just have to like curate those people. You can't like control, because everyone who is a part of the community is a volunteer. They are not obliged to like do everything you actually ask them. So you have to curate the community in such a way that you get people who share the same sort of vision with you, so that all the events or the activities are aligned to the same goal. So every community needs a leader. It can be just one leader, maybe like 20, maybe 100 leaders. And the best way to make that happen is to let those leaders actually lead. You can't just do everything on your own and let the other people do like the most minor things. So make people responsible so that they are accountable to their actions. And at first, it might be hard, but you have to nurture those people yourself, because in the beginning, it's just you or maybe just a few friends of yours. So if you want to do something like that, you have to nurture in the beginning. But it's going to like come along the way. Always provide an open and transparent door. So when people like want to like join a community, for example, if people want to like join PyCon Korea and they don't even know how to ask questions, or if they're really afraid of asking questions, you have to encourage them. So you really have to provide an open door through everyone can pass. So you don't have to like block anyone from entering the community. So everyone can contribute, and it's a right thing in the Python community that we just are not here to be catered, but also we can contribute in like any possible way. So responsibility has to be there, and the vision has to be there. And when the vision is a shared vision, things go on the right track. So decide role for members or the community members who are a part of your community, so that you just don't have a single person for like everything, but you can divide things based on what people can do. So if you have a single person for yourself, you can run into making yourself a single point of failure. So try not to do that. Instead, making your community like decentralized, it's much better. Embracing the feedback. I'll say fail more and fail faster, because that helps you to get better even faster. So embrace everything, even if it's positive or negative. You just get back all the feedback from your attendees and try to communicate as much as possible, because those people who give you the feedback, they want something to happen. They just don't want to like give you the feedback and just run away. So make sure that you have a solution for their feedback, and also like reply back to them. Seek help when needed. Communities are really big, and if you want to start a community in the developer ecosystem, there are so many of them. So if you're trying to start something which is really similar to something else in some other part of the world, you can literally find a similar community and find people who are leading them and ask them for help. And there are so many of them that you can learn the best of the best practices or things to avoid in the long time. Go to conferences, open spaces, meetups, whatever is happening nearby you, so that it might help you for your own space. And lastly, you have to define your own success metric. It's really important because once you start something like that, you have to take something in your mind that why are you doing this? Why am I running a community? Why am I having this PyCon Korea conference? Why am I speaking here? So you have to define your own success metric, that what is something that you want to get out of a particular event or a successful community. Some small things might be, do you think the people enjoy? Do you think they learned something new, or did they solve a problem if they had a problem in their mind in the first place? So this is a really small checklist going by what we have discussed so far. Having a purpose, understanding the nature, making it planned and informative, deciding where the community is going to go, curating people but not controlling their behavior, and providing an open and transparent door, responsibility and a shared vision, embracing the feedback, whatever you get, and seeking help when needed, and finally defining your own success metric. But there's one most important thing: always have fun. Thank you so much.